Alright, so in this video we're going to analyze Tommy's deadlift technique here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roll it down. Now, before this is the first day Tommy came to me to get some deadlift advice, and prior to this, his deadlift max was sitting at about 200, and he had hit 210 once before in training. So when he was training and peaking for a competition, he hit 210. But at this particular time when he came to me, he wasn't peaking for a competition. In fact, he was in his off season. He had just came back from overseas, and he was out of training. He had managed to pull 200 a week or two before this video, but yeah, he had only been able to pull 210 once before when he was peaking for a competition. I think his best comp PB is a 220. So what we had to do was we had a look at his setup, and I realized that he's not setting up in the best way possible. What you will notice is if you have a look at Tommy in real life, you'll see that his the angle of his femur, the length of his femur, so this over here, is not in a great proportion compared to his torso angle or torso length, right? And this would that caused a lot of problems for him in setting up for the deadlift, and so he would consistently set up with his knees too far back, right? And that would force his butt to be way too high. So his hips are here now. Before they were much higher. They were like more like here, right? So his hip would actually start up here, and that would cause his back angle to be much more parallel to the ground than it is now. So let's have a look at his actual starting position, right? Just before he pulls, he gets to about there, right? That's his position. That's where he's getting tight, and that's where he starts to pull. Can you see there, right? So he's as tight as he can get right there, and that's his position there. So that's very good. That's perfect. That's picture perfect, because what you want to do is when you set up for the deadlift, you want the angle of your torso and the angle of your femur to look like a V, just like that. Well, a lot of people when they set up, they will set up in two different ways. They will either usually have their ass too high, and so the angle will look like a 7, like that, sort of, or they will set up too low and they will look like an L, like that, almost. That's exaggerated, but you know what I mean. They're squatting into it too much. The deadlift is obviously not a quad dominant exercise. It's a posterior chain dominant exercise, but the quads are involved, and you want to get the best of both worlds depending on how you're built. So in his case, when he's not really ideally built for a deadlift, because his femur is so long and so on, you want to make sure you optimize that angle. So you want to make sure that this angle and this angle here looks as much like a 45-degree angle there, so it looks like a complete V. And in his case, in this case here, it's almost textbook. It's perfect. The other good thing in his setup here is, firstly, his back is completely flat. That's awesome. His thoracic is flat. That's good as well, and it stays like that as he pulls, right? See, his thoracic doesn't budge. He's very strong. He can maintain that. And so one other thing is important to notice is that his knee is in front of his shoulder, right? So if you were to draw a line from his shoulder on down, a straight line, you will notice that his knee is in front of his shoulder, and his shoulder is more or less directly on top of the barbell. That's exactly how you want it. And so you can see all the things in motion as he pulls. It comes up, he keeps it close, and he finishes it off, nice and easy. And that's what it's all about. It's about getting that the biomechanics correct. That's what a deadlift is all about. Hope that that helped you, and hope you guys learned a little bit from that. If you need to find out more about biomechanics of different lifts, get on to us, Adonis Athletics on Facebook or Instagram, Adonis Athletics, and we'd love to help you out.